Good morning, everyone. Some microphones still need to be closed. Maybe colleagues, you can help with that. Okay, good morning, everyone. Sunny morning here in Helsinki. Spring has finally arrived, if not yet summer, but almost getting there. Really nice to see you after a while. We're going to have a informative morning session with all of you colleagues, and we are really happy to see that so many of you took the time to join us this morning for a bit of an update what's going on with the intangible cultural heritage and the convention work. We have quite a busy year going on, and soon some of us or many of us will meet in Paris at the General Assembly. We're going to be sharing some information on periodic reporting. So UNESCO organized 3 short meetings, or well, rather longish even meetings, to hear more about the process. So if some of you weren't there, you will hear some information about it, that, and also a bit of reflections from some of the members of the steering committee. Then we're looking forward to General Assembly to see a bit what's ahead of us, and hopefully also a bit of discussion and to hear what kind of insights would you like to bring to the minds of other colleagues. And then also we will have room for an open floor and other updates and issues. But maybe just once more to introduce our steering committee. Oceane, if you put the next slide, I think that was on my list. The following. So I am Leena Marsio. I'm from the Finnish Heritage Agency and coordinator and focal point for the past 12 years. And with me, you can open your camera and wave your hand, is Hildekun Björken from Norway, Phil Foxfood from UK, Joanna Repchuk from Romania. We are all country focal points. And then Nikolai Vukov from Bulgaria, and then also Jori Neiring, who are both facilitators. And Oceane Lesot has been kindly helping us with secretariat functions for the European Network of Focal Points. So we meet once a month or once in 2 months to discuss timely issues and prepare information and better networking for all of you, dear network members. In the next slide, we have some timely issues. So first of all, on the ethics initiative, I think most of you colleagues have been participating in the events organized. But Christina Biasetto from Austria, if you are with us this morning, would you probably want to say a couple of words about the latest news?
Yes, thank you, Lena, and good morning to everyone. Lovely seeing you all again. On the ethics initiative, as many of you participated last year, there were some very interesting outcomes, and at the moment, we are putting together the main outcomes of each of the episodes we had into a short brochure that presents main findings and recurring issues and potential tools that could help people who are facing ethical challenges for certain topics or want to help some sort of orientation on tools that could help them in working on them in this very short brochure summary of the sessions that are more anonymized and more general than the summaries that we sent out after these sessions. We wanted to have a meeting on this during the General Assembly, but we're informed that unfortunately no side events are going to happen during the next General Assembly. So bad news and sad news, but we hope that this brochure at least can be then. We are thinking of how to disseminate this brochure then in a wide manner. And yeah, but this is the newest news on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. It's a very valuable initiative, and we're looking forward for the outcomes. And if someone is new and haven't heard about it yet, maybe you can contact directly Christina or then to the general email of the ENFP and to hear more about it. Then I would like to give the floor for Mirela from Croatia to tell about the inventorying initiative. I think, and I hope all of you have received the survey on the inventory. It's a really valuable work that can also help us in the coming work with the periodic reporting. Mirela, are you there?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you again, a lot of you, and some new colleagues. Yes, as part of our ENFP network actions and activities, we thought that this year we might kind of look um, on our processes of inventorying. And we developed a survey, colleague from Germany, Helmut Gerschwitz and myself. And we kind of wanted to see similar information for each of the countries in Europe and a little bit beyond. So a lot of responses have already come in. And we thank you all who participated. But for those of you who still haven't maybe answered maybe we can share the link in the chat later on, and you can then join us. There are interesting responses, and I think a lot of cooperation can still be going on among different countries. Regarding different kinds of activities and even different kind of approaches to inventorying. So next week, on the same day on Wednesday, we are going to share your experiences and what you have done in 10 or 20 years since the onset of the 2003 convention. That's more or less it, I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Mirela, and thank you for being so active on this initiative. Inventorying is indeed something we all are doing and are doing it all the time, and it's a very crucial part of the convention. So it's really nice to get some up-to-date information and comparisons, and also whom to reach out if you want to hear more about some countries' work around it. But we hope to see all of you in a week's time. Before giving the floor to Nikolai on newsletters and communications, I just want to say a couple of words about the working methods of the ENFP. So we are reflecting on how we are working and discussing internal coordination. I think one of the issues raised has been that about the role of the focal points, and then also other key persons within the convention, and all of you are warmly welcome to take part in the meetings, but there also seems to be a need to organize separate meetings for separate groups. So this is still being discussed, and we're trying to find the best ways to go forward with this work. Nikolai, I hope you are still online. I'd like to give the floor for you now on newsletters, and I think we have another slide coming up on communications in general.
Thank you very much. It's very nice seeing you all and just participating in this meeting. I'm always very much fascinated with just the awareness of the power that the group of the focal points has and carries with it the spirit that we all have with us, and it's being felt. I have to say, and you know that the spirit very much relies on communication and all these the network of exchanging ideas, exchanging activities, information about the numerous initiatives that all of us are taking part, just carrying out in the field, in your countries, in the different locations, institutions. And it's very important to have, how to say, deserved visibility of all these activities. And it's a lot of information has been shared and is being shared across emails and the Facebook reflections on such activities, etc. There is of course saturation of information. Sometimes it comes too much, but it's never I believe so. How to say? It's never too much to share about good practices. And taking this point, I would like to encourage you for the contributions for the forthcoming. It's just a little way ahead, several days ahead to proceed to the launching of the next newsletter. The previous one was launched at the end of January, so it's high time for us, for the network, to show its visibility, to reflect on all these activities that have already turned as past events, but there are also many upcoming events, and it's really very good to have all of us to be able to know more about them. So far we have received some information from different countries, from some of you, but we believe that there is much more to share. So we decided, instead of just launching the newsletter at the beginning of May before the meeting, to give a next push and reminder. We know that all of us are busy enough, but just to push, to encourage you to share, brief paragraphs, just short text and a reflection of one or two photos that you would like to show. So please send such information before the door is closed, because this will happen at the beginning, the first days of the next week. So take your time in the remaining days of this week to if you have missed sharing, if you have missed just sending out to colleagues, or you would like to reflect more and just draw the attention, please send it. We're waiting for this, and we're still not closing the door, but at the beginning of next week we will do. So this is an encouragement and uh, preliminary gratitude to all of you who contribute. It's without you, this initiative will not be able to take place. So that's in brief. I
Thank
hope.
you. Thank you, Nikolai, and many thanks to you and the rest of the communications team. Remembering the time when we did not have ENFP and we did not have this newsletter, it was like walking in the dark, and now we see the light. We hear what other colleagues are doing, and we know how important it is. We are rolling the same machine in different countries, so it's really important to share those events and experiences and practices so we can work even better for the convention.
And it reaches out not only the members of the network, but many more people who are just willing to learn about what we are doing. So
yes, indeed.
yes, thank you.
Dear steering committee members, tell me now if I forgot to mention something essential.
Not really, maybe just that in addition to the newsletter, of course, there's also the website where we try to collect the more general updates, news, events, as a more long-term resource of the work of the network. So we also continue the work on that.
Thanks a lot. So I'll say thank you at this point from my part, and I am happy to forward give the floor to Hildegund Bjørken from Norway on periodic reporting.
Thank you, Lena, and hello to everybody. Nice to see you again. Working with the periodic report will be one of the main tasks for all of us, I guess, for the next year. Based on the experiences from Norway, we want to share a bit about how we plan to approach the work in 2026 and for the 27 report. And after that, Jorin will tell us about the experiences from Belgium. But first, just a short remember about the meeting held from April 28th to 30th. Joreen and I will only give a brief recap here, and you can watch the full recording on UNESCO's website. The link, you can see the link on the screen, and it will be shared. It has been shared with you, I guess. Next, thank you, Ocean. In the meeting, Fumiko presented the background for the reform of the periodic report, and she highlighted the changes introduced in 2017 and 18. All regions have now submitted reports, and UNESCO has analyzed them. Our electoral groups has submitted theirs in 2021. UNESCO says that the changes have made it easier to follow up the work, learn from each other for long-term safeguarding approaches. I think this is true for each state party as well. Periodic report is a tool for capacity building in the state parties. Next, please. To ensure a smoother and stronger connection to Mondiacult, they have shifted to a global single submission system now. The deadline for the report is June the 30th, 2027. And as you can see, the Register of Good Safeguarding Practice is still under discussion and not yet fully integrated into the reporting system. Next, please. The evaluation after the previous reporting cycle made it clear that the simplification was needed. Many noted that the reporting form was extensive and the work was very resource intensive. UNESCO is now in the process of simplifying the reporting form. You can see some of the ideas here, and we are eagerly waiting to see whether the changes they will make will do the process easier for us. The timeline, the next slide, please. The timeline for the current periodic report is first the GA, of course, the General Assembly, that will make decisions needed to move forward. And then the plan is to publish the revised version of the reporting form by June the 30th, 2026. And then in the autumn, there will be training of trainers, and also regional capacity building will continue throughout the autumn 2026. And as you can see, it's highlighted here, June the 30th, 2027, we have to submit the report. So Joreen, over to you.
Yes, you can show the next slide, Ocean. Thank you, Hildegunn. So I think one of the topics that was addressed during the meeting, end of April, is also that this is a huge operation also for UNESCO, for all of us, I think, but also for the Secretariat, to organize a global approach. So part of the work that is being done now, as Hildegunn said, is to revise the forms and then have also updated training, of course. These would be ready, I can say, only by autumn. So I think many of us are a bit concerned about that. And that one of the things in ENFP that we can have a look into is how can we try already to get started while the exact forms and questions and so on are being prepared. We come to that later on. There will be an online training of trainers also for the facilitators here in the room in September. The exact dates are on the page of the meeting. I think it's 17th and 18th of September. And after that, the regional support will start, and the Category 2 centers will have a key role in organizing those regional capacity building. I think I just saw Mirena entering, so Sofia Center will be helping us just like last time to be prepared and get training. But in addition, UNESCO Secretariat also looks to networks, and I think ENFP is one of those networks. We grew from the whole process in 2021, and there we can have a look at peer learning. How can we exchange? How could we cooperate together to learn from each other, to solve issues that we face, or to signal them timely to each other, and then also to the Secretariat where needed, to have some regional exchanges and so on. So we will be looking into this in the open space after this. You can go to the next slide, Ocean. So some of the broader questions that emerged already during the reflection meeting, and that we can also have some further discussion for Europe today, is How do you see the calendar? How will you try to manage? What can we do there? Which kind of support would you need as a focal point so that we can try to get ourselves organized in the coming weeks to facilitate where possible? But also, as the time will be quite short, how can we maybe also still try to have the participatory dimension be realized and to keep the spirit and maintain that? And how should we organize the peer learning? What is feasible for you? What is nice for you as models to meet each other and to learn from each other? What would work well from you? It could be all kinds of things. It can be like a monthly coffee chat or a lunch meeting or working sessions and so on. And what role do you expect from the network? And maybe if Sofia Center wants to say a few words, they're very welcome as well. So we'll come to that. To open our exchanges with you all here in the room, we first will do a few polls. I will go through them so that we have a general overview, and afterwards we then really invite you to share as much as you can. Also the secretariat, if they want. Helena and Alessandra are here as well. To have this space to have a look into this together, and then the steering committee will be meeting after this to see how we can follow up and get ourselves organized as well as possible. So the first poll question is, have you already worked on periodic reporting in the previous cycle? This will give us an idea of how many people are new to it. Then the next question will be, have you already started your preparations for the upcoming periodic report? And then the next is, how important would training or capacity building for you to feel comfortable to really get started now? And then the next is, would you like the ENFP network to organize additional peer exchanges, learning sessions, or training moments? Here we ask you to refer to question 4 in the chat, and if you have concrete ideas, just say for the ENFP trainings, I would love this or that. You can give concrete suggestions. And then I think that's the 4 questions that we will open now. Ocean will open them now, and we give you a few minutes to consider them, and then we can have a look into the results of it. If all is well, you can see them now.
Mhm.
One more minute, and then we will close down. But indicate if you need more time. Is it fine if I close down, or should we wait? Yeah, Ocean, you can try to share the results. Can you see it? Yeah. So on the first question, we see that almost half of us have already worked on the periodic reporting, but actually there's also a quarter of the group here that is new to this, and some only contributed occasionally, 3%. So that's only one person is not involved in the periodic reporting. So almost all of us here are involved in the periodic reporting. And it's still new to quite some of us in the room. Then for the second question, we can see that no one answered yes, preparations are well underway. But that's actually more than 1/3 has already started initial discussions, but not concrete preparation. So if we count it together, we're about 70% that is not really getting started yet, and 20% is waiting for more information on the training. So this indicates there's really a need to still get started and to have information on the process. Then the third question on how important would training be? Almost half of you, 48%, indicates it's very important, and 39% is quite important. So I think here this is also a very clear message. Altogether, it's like 90% for who training will after 5 years or 4 years, 5 years. This refreshing and updating and also the new questions and information that will be there and how to address them. It's really helpful to get training in the coming time. The fourth question was, would you like to have ENFP organizing additional peer exchanges and so on? There we see that almost half of you say yes, definitely, and 30% yes, especially peer exchange and learning sessions, and 13% especially practical training. So also a vast majority is looking forward to ENFP activities on the periodic reporting, with some accent on peer and practical approaches there. So this is already very helpful for us. And only very few say like it's not necessary. One person thinks it's not necessary. And for one person, it depends on the format. So this can also be further explained in the chat. We will stop sharing it now, but this is very helpful already. And we have the information now, so we can further analyze it after the meeting and further discuss. But before we go to a public discussion, I can't stop the poll. Maybe you can, Ocean. Meanwhile,
Is that okay?
Yes, I think it has stopped now. But before we go there, you can share the presentation again, and Hildegund and myself will share some reflections, experiences to already get this process started. And after that, we can further reflect together. So Hildegund, over to you again.
Thank you, Jorien. I will be very, very brief. Next slide, please. I think we need some, we can actually get back to the presentations later in a meeting later if needed, but let's start so we can say something about the periodic report and the planning for the periodic report work. We want to raise a few issues that hopefully can help support a constructive discussion in this network and identify useful input for the next phase of the work. It's Jorien and I, and that's going to present, as Jorien said. Next slide, please. There you are. I will go over to talk about Norway a bit later, but the purpose of this short presentation is to frame the exchange in a practical and open way by sharing experiences. And the experiences is how to organize the work with the example from Norway and Belgium, and how to involve the civil society especially. And the point is to raise issues that we can discuss in this network, and also enable discussion, future discussion. Next slide, please. Just a map over Norway. To say that Arts and Culture Norway, formerly Arts Council Norway, if you look at the report for 2021, it's Arts Council Norway. Now we are called Arts and Culture Norway. We are the directorate under the Ministry of Culture and Equality, and we are the focal point, as I said. We work to make arts and culture accessible for more people and to highlight the important role that cultural plays in society. We support a full range of arts and culture in Norway, from major national institutions to small local initiatives. And the reason why I say this is because we are in charge of the periodic report, so we are responsible for the whole country, as you see. That is, we are active in all the 15 regional counties. Next slide, please. We haven't settled on a final model yet, but we do know that we want to involve the civil society and, of course, build on what we have learned from the previous reporting, 2021 especially. To prepare, we will start some desktop work. We will review our 2021 report along with a selection of reports from other state parties. We will look at the UNESCO analysis, and we'll go through, of course, the new forms for 27 and questions once they are available. In addition, we have to look at our own data. Arts and Culture Norway produce knowledge about the arts and culture sector in Norway through research programs, evaluations, statistics, and analytical reports. And documentation from museums and other cultural institutions also gives us essential insight for work related to ICH. And we also are finalizing our strategy for ICH in Arts and Culture Norway from 2026 to 2021. In that process, we have received inputs from actors in the field, and this is valuable material for the periodic report as well. So we plan to start now with the desktop work and continue until September. And then we will involve the civil society more structurally. We will develop more detailed timeline once we've discussed this work internally, but for now, I expect this to begin in September and go along until February, March next year. We have experiences both with direct dialogue with different stakeholders and with opening draft report for public consultation. And we expect to use a combination of these approaches again. We also involving the Sami Parliament, other UNESCO, and other directorates that work with the civil society, including those connected to education and related sectors. And we also include, of course, the UNESCO Commission in Norway. In the previous round, back in 2021, we didn't manage to bring the county authorities properly into the dialogue. And the same goes for the higher education sector. Even though we had open consultation, we didn't receive universities, colleges, or county authorities broadly enough. This time, we will make sure that these stakeholders are fully involved. Next slide. For the stakeholders, follow up on the inscribed element. We want to contact, of course, the actors behind the nominations, both the inscription on the representative lists that we have, but also those who are inscribed on the elements of good safeguarding practices. We will also revisit the 2021 report to highlight changes, good work, challenges, and so on, and with the goal of identifying barriers for them or for us. The overall aim of the reporting is to monitor the work and especially to identify blind spots and what we call gray areas. Through the reports, we receive input that we can use in our policy development. Not everything can be solved, but we can highlight challenges and good practices based on what civil society brings forward. So this report will make us more sustained in the future and for our own strategy. Over to you, Jorin.
Okay. In Belgium, just as many colleagues here in the room, we are a federal state, which asks for consultation and coordination from the very start. I will not explain how it will go because I'm not yet involved in the process for the upcoming. Maybe Isabelle Leroy, who is in the room, can tell a bit more there later on if she wants. But I can share how we addressed it in the past and maybe also share some ideas of what can already start in the process now before we have the concrete questions set. So you can go to the next slide. So we organized ourselves in the autonomous capacity, the cultural capacity of the different parts of the country, the French community, the German community, Brussels, and the Flemish community. Each would prepare their part of the periodic report, and then there is an intra-Belgian coordination where the reports are being compiled into one report, but still reflecting the different approaches in the different cultural communities and their capacities. One of the focal points, so for example, Flemish community, Arno Beunen is the focal point, Isabelle Leroy is there for Brussels and so on. They agree together who will be the lead focal point for the periodic report. I imagine it will be similar this time. So one part of the country takes the lead to have the final sending of the file to UNESCO. Okay. Then you can go to the next slide. I think one of the things we can all already do and which will not change is have a look into the 8 thematic areas of the overall results framework, which still remains, even if we're proceeding towards an overall cultural reporting and the Mondiacult developments. The overall results framework remains there, and these 8 thematic areas also will continue to be a very important lead in our reflection on where are we, how can we monitor our work, and how are we proceeding. So you can have a look into where are we now at the institutional and the human capacities, in the field of transmission and education, on inventorying and research, and so on. So even without the concrete set of questions, actually a lot can already be done to organize yourself, to start coordinating how you want to involve stakeholders there, to already do desktop work on these topics and so on. So that once we have the question after the General Assembly, or at least we have the decision then, and the questions will be further prepared, we can actually already gather a lot of data that then can be more concretely proceed after we get the set of questions in autumn. Okay, you can go to the next slide. This is just a slide, we will send them to you. I saw the question was also in the chat. Just a slide on how we organized ourselves in Flanders last time to have this kind of data collection, because one of the challenges we all face is that it's huge. It's almost 90 questions, or it was almost 90 questions last time. And a lot of interlinkages between the different fields and themes, or you need to ask the same stakeholders questions for different parts of the report, and this is very confusing if you're not spending all your time on it, and most of us do not have the time to spend all our time on it. So to get this kind of overview, it's helpful to simplify it, which already will be done now by the questions itself as well, but also to see, okay, which are big blocks we can use, and the thematic areas are one of it, but also making like a few subgroups or teams, or like managing teams or working groups. Okay, this group will be the steering committee to oversee the whole. And then we will have a task force that works on education, and a task force that will work on another part of it, to just get it going, to get started, and to have a clear coordination format for the focal points that leads the whole of the work. Already here you can see which parts are actually linked in the current or in the previous set of questions, so it can also be helpful for you to see where some parts are actually to be looked into together, because there are questions that are overlapping and so on. Okay, you can go to the next slide. Last time, of course, we were doing the report in the COVID pandemic. So a lot of us have been working online for this kind of stakeholder involvement. Many online meetings, which were upcoming at that time, the Zoom and the Teams meetings were happening. And also there you can have a look at how can we organize like this kind of roundtables or working sessions with our stakeholders from whom we would wish to have input. Hildegun was already referring, for example, to universities and academia. You can really use the occasion of the periodic report to bring actors once together, once in 5 years, to reflect where are we, or do you see any evolution? Is there funding now? Do you have participatory approaches in academia towards ICH? Is it actually a topic already in your training, in your courses, in your research, and so on? So organize a series of these kind of meetings throughout the year and see who will be leading these kind of multi-stakeholder meetings is really an opportunity, I would say. We cannot do it for all of the stakeholders, but you can choose a few. As a periodic report, it's not obligatory to fulfill everything. You can always like prioritize for your own country where you think it's important to take new steps or to make an evaluation, and there put some more effort than in other domains to really use this chance of having the periodic report to also take steps for your own policy development. Okay, you can go to the next slide. So to get started already now, even if a lot of things are still like a bit vague and we're waiting for more concrete question sets and so on, we can already start to do this kind of timing and planning, I think. We can already start thinking about coordinating the whole process, but also the stakeholder involvement. The thematic domains of the ORF are quite useful for this, I think, because they are more concrete. So you can really use this like, okay, media and communication, that's a topic. Education, that's a topic. Another thing that we all can do, and it was also mentioned during the meeting on the reflection of the periodic reporting, is that actually there will not be lots of changes regarding the lists. So for the representative list evaluation, actually you could already send out some questionnaire translated and involve the communities to see where they are, what are the threats and challenges they face, what are the evolutions, what does it bring to them to be on a UNESCO list, and so on. Also for the inventories, I think if you would wish to use this as a moment to make an update of your inventory, you can link it to question sets that bring you also input for the periodic report in these different domains which we will need to report on. You can already start involving accredited NGOs. In some ways, you can send them a question set. Or you can have this kind of meetings, focus groups, and so on, but also mobilize them and use them to provide some inputs on the different fields where they are active and where they have maybe also data and so on. So just to ask them already. And I think if you have professional organizations in the broader cultural field that work on ICH safeguarding, it's quite similar. You could already get started to involve them, and that they are aware that this is upcoming and that they can also provide some inputs for the report. So I think even if it's not all there yet, we can actually already do a lot between now and September, when things will start to become more clear. And I already want to indicate that we're also really wanting to help for any questions that you have there. So in our capacity as the network, we will try to do as much as we can to support you as well. We're not perfect, but we can try to solve where possible. Okay, I think this was the last slide now. So we come back to the looking ahead and the kind of questions that might be there. And we kindly open the floor now. Maybe the UNESCO Secretariat or the Sophia Center wants to say a few things, and then maybe some of the colleagues want to share concerns, share ideas, have proposals, which kind of peer learning there could be. So over to you. Elena, I see you're on the chat. Do you want to speak?
Morning, colleagues. I'm incognito here. No, I think for this one, if you wish an input, I think Alessandro is the clearly better placed person because he's managing the process on our side. So if Alessandro wishes to say something, I think this would be the moment. I have just shared the dates, as you may have seen in the chat, the dates of the European training for the designated focal points, which will be on the 30th September, 7 October, and 14 October. It's online, it's in the afternoons, 3 hours, and that's all I know at this stage. So all the rest will come in due time, as we say.
Okay, thank you.
Over to you, Alessandro.
Thank you, Elena. Thank you, Jorin. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. No, I think that the presentation that was delivered by Jorin and Ildegun was quite clear, and also collect what has been discussed and presenting during the Global Reflection Meeting. So on my side, I think that just to confirm that we're keep working on the simplification of the form, with the target date being 30 June for its release. We hope to be able to comply with this. And of course, as Fumiko said during the meeting, as Jorin also highlighted here, Section C is not expected to be to undergo so many changes. So it can be a good point where to start. And as was also said, like the general coordination within the relevant authorities who is leading this exercise as focal point, but also in coordination with others. It's always a good point where to start because it takes time, taking also into consideration that the connection between the form and the overall result framework will not change. It will always be there, although we are targeting to have a streamlined and more user-friendly questionnaire. So that's all from my side for now.
May I just add one little thing, which is that this is a very unique initiative that you are doing here because, as you know, the ENFP, we do not have ENFPs in other regions. Only Europe has this benefit, and this is an excellent initiative that you are doing to provide support to each other. Because I suppose that it's exactly this what you had last time and what you really where you learned the most in the peer support, in the peer learning, in exchanges, how you do, how we do, how they do, etc. So congratulations to this one. And at the same time, thank you very much for supporting the exercise because it's not easy on any of the sides. So that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alessandro and Helena. Anyone else wants to share concerns, questions, ideas? Just open your mic and we can get started then. Not really. Everyone is reflecting on this huge exercise that is upcoming. Someone else wants to share about Christina. There you go.
Yes. My first thought was, if no one really likes this exercise, why are we doing it? But of course, this is mandatory for the convention. So starting off with that is the additional layer that has been presented to us, on which we are working at the moment, is my colleague from the 2005 convention and I are trying to do this together because we all need to report at the same time. So we're also a federal state, and when approaching the regional authorities where culture, their main competencies is in the regions, in the federal states, not at the ministry, so to say, administrative scene. We're doing this together. So we meet up with them. And I know sometimes the 2005 and 2003 convention lies within the same person, which is even more challenging, I assume. But for those who have the luck to have a good colleague or person who works on the other convention, well, we're trying to do this together in a way. We're doing some sort of tour, meeting them in person, because the questions will be different until a certain extent, and some will be the same or comparable to a certain extent. So that is maybe another thought on it.
Nina, you raised your hand, but now it's gone again.
No, it was just a thumb up because I think it's a good idea to exchange with our 2005 focal points.
I know this is also one of the things Hildegun is promoting very much. Hildegun?
I was so glad, Christina, you brought this issue up here, and also Nina to support it, because we are also working in Arts and Culture Norway with following up the 2005 convention, or helping the ministry. So we are discussing internally, and I don't know if you are aware, we tried to raise the questions to the secretariat during the meeting in April, how to work on the topic, how to work to see the synergies. So please let us continue this discussion in the European network, and then also have the conversation together with the secretariat to see how we can highlight these issues, and also, of course, the other cultural conventions, but especially the 2005. Yes. So glad you brought it up, Christina.
Thank you, Julia.
Yes, well, thank you very much for all the discussion, and I'm lucky enough to be focal point for both convention 2003 and 2005. So I'm just like wondering how to achieve that. And I think one of the biggest differences is that the 2005 convention has a more streamlined and easier way to proceed, because you have data indicators, and then you have an identification of good practices in different domains and area. And I think that could also be a way to proceed in our convention, going to the different actors, organization, trying to identify best practicing, and then to have these best practices to put them in the different indicators we have and domains of the convention, because it's a way also to have a broader collection of data, of ID, of projects. Because one of the challenges last time was really to trying to fit into these really narrow boxes that we had to fill in. And I think that's the task of the coordination, of the overall coordination, to put that in the correct boxes. And I think one of the elements is really this identification. And as you showed us, Joreen, this idea of having kind of small clusters, and maybe having kind of simplified form or questionnaire for each of these clusters, and not staying to the structure which is too complicated, could be one of the practices. So what I would welcome maybe from the ENFP or from you is maybe a reflection about how many of this cluster could we identify in order to have really simple question to identify good practices for these different clusters. So I think that could be a way to proceed, especially if we have to work in a federal state in Switzerland, like the way Christina presented for Austria.
Thank you, Julia. We can think on that, but maybe it's even as there is the support at the moment with an expert in this kind of collecting and monitoring. Maybe this could even be a question that we have more on a general level, so that the whole world could benefit from it. If there is this step in between, like the simplified questions, but then also the data collection as you propose. From my side, I can say that we have done before last summer already, we did a survey with the inventory in Flanders. And there I did the exercise to see which kind of questions for the periodic report can we already take in addition to the general biannual report on the inventory. So they had a set of extra questions, but it was only one survey, so they would not have the feeling, oh, there they are again for the next periodic report. So we already have these, but we could easily translate the list of questions that we shared and also share in the network here. I can consult with Arno and Sophie for that, but I'm quite sure they will be willing to share these. And maybe making this kind of folder where you can find resources that we have as peers can also be one of the valuable things to do in the next week, so that you can just copy and translate some of the materials that already have been made by other focal points. I think someone raised the hand and it's gone again.
Yes, it was me because it was exactly that, to share the questionnaires or material that we are doing, because I think most of us tried to do this exercise, breaking down questions, which we did already the last time. And it would be helpful to, because I mean, AI helps at least for the translation part. So no one needs to translate it beforehand, but put it in and then we can take what we need. Because for the last time already, we created so many different kind of questionnaires for different stakeholders, and surely will be similarly this time to get to all of them. But we had adapting it when the new form is out. But I think many questions will stay the same, like what has changed, legal changes, these will, I highly assume, stay the same.
I don't know if Alessandra or Helena do have any idea if like this thinking together on how we can cluster things in a more higher level than the question sets as Julien proposed. Would this be something we could speak about with the experts?
If I may, I think that one of the things that was discussed and what were the things that we are doing in simplifying the form is, as I said, not to lose the connection with the overall result framework. Of course, the current form, which is made up of many questions, is literally translate the assessment factor to questions. So this is where the complexity of it start. And of course, it's not only that, because many questions have additional sub-questions about, I don't know, inclusivity, or I don't know what activities has been done to ensure the participation of communities. So it trickled down to multiple sub-questions. So I think that what we are trying to do is to remain at a higher level of the overall result framework. So meaning the thematic areas and the core indicators. But again, I mean, since it's still a work in progress, I cannot like tell you something that it might change in the future. But I think that looking at the core indicators and clustering perhaps the information about or looking at each core indicator, it's I think it's good enough. Without going into the nitty-gritty details of the assessment factor, which will be, of course, reflected somehow, but you know, I think that level is sufficient and broad enough to respond to the ORF and to for states party, we believe, as of now, have a tool to monitor the implementation of the convention and use it to address gaps, identify needs, and especially for policymaking.
Okay. Other ideas or questions? Not at this stage. If no one is raising the hand, maybe let me start by sharing some ideas and to see what would you like as a format. We could, for example, I will just run over. Would it be a good idea? Maybe use the reactions or in the chat you can also share. Would it be a good idea for those who want to have this kind of refresh session on what is the overall results framework, what are the different parts in it, what are the core indicators, so that the ones that want it, that they are able to join a session on that we would be organizing. Because if I understood well, Helena and Alessandro, it's not the plan to do this kind of basic training anymore, right?
Here we are still we're working on the capacity building approach, but in the meantime, what changed is that we developed some tools on the overall result framework itself. So, for example, I encourage, I don't know if you're aware, otherwise I will be sharing it. We have developed last year, and I was in charge in the development with Ana Gonzalez, who many of you must know, a course on the overall result framework, which it's an online course which is hosted by our learning platform, which is a Moodle platform. I can send you the link. And what we are and other courses were developed. One of them is on the implementation of the convention. So I mean, for those of you, I mean, perhaps Europe is not the case, but for those of you who are, you know, perhaps new to the convention, it can be also a good idea to look at those at that course. And we do have a course on the overall result framework itself, which is not on periodic reporting. It's on the overall result framework, so you can really deep dive into the different components. How it can be used also for project management, so outside the periodic reporting exercise. And we have it in the 6 languages of the UN. So it's there. If the link has not been shared in the chat, I saw that someone posted something. If not, I will post the link to access the course, which is a good idea, you know, to take before.
Yeah, so there is the training you can already get yourself via the offer that Alessandro just said with the learning platform. And in addition to that, we could possibly organize a session where you can have questions. We explain a bit with slides. This is an option. Would this be a good idea or not? Helena?
Just to continue a little add-on to what Alessandro already said is that, of course, you have all the training materials online for those who are new to the convention. We have a materials repository where you can find everything you need on the basics of the convention, etc. And there is I think, if I understood correctly, the 2 courses that are recommended in the preparation for the newcomers is the one that Alessandro mentioned on the ORF. And the second one is on ICH and sustainable development, to kind of open up to the other spheres or to the other sides, to understand that ICH is not only Ministry of Culture, but we are talking about a broader range of stakeholders. So this is, of course, much more for the newcomers than for those one who already went through the exercise. But I think these 2 might be kind of core. And then, of course, this offer to discuss them is certainly very helpful, because to have the ORF as the first meeting with the convention, it's a kind of strong coffee, as we say. Perfect. Thanks.
Okay. What about the idea of having, like, for example, monthly coffee or lunch or morning sessions for those who wish to catch up, to raise their questions, or to learn how others are doing it? Would this be working? Would it be a good format? Yeah, I see that there's quite some colleagues that would be happy with it. I think it's not a must, but for those who would be helped by it, we could try to organize it. And it would also indicate where the issues are, and then we can be like a channel to lead these questions towards the Secretariat as well, so that they are not overwhelmed with questions from all over the world, but that we can kind of channel them a bit. Okay, then we will do this. It's a bit looking to what is the best moment for these kind of sessions. Please indicate what you would like in the chat, rather just a working hour session or a morning session with a coffee or a lunch session, so that we get a grasp of what is a good timing, and should we do it on Friday morning, for example, or Friday at lunch, or in the middle of the week or the beginning of the week. These kind of ideas are certainly welcome if we start to think about what would be a good approach. If someone wants to speak about it, please do. Then others can react as well. I see Christina says Friday morning, and then there's another colleague like more in the morning in the first part of the week. So morning session sounds like good, I see already. And would monthly be a good idea? Like every first or last Monday of month, Tuesday, for example, of the month. Okay, so we go for morning sessions and in a regular rhythm. Another question, is it a good idea to continue to work during summer, or will it be a break anyway? And will we be waiting for colleagues to come then? I think actually that summer, maybe after 15 August it works again, but that many of us will be leaving anyway during July and early August. Is that correct? Okay, then we will be planning maybe a session at the end of August to get started again, and we try to still see if we can have like a first session in June or something. What we could do is do a poll in the group to see which day works best. This is not so difficult to organize, and then decide on the day. Another idea that we had in the steering committee, would it be a good idea to have a WhatsApp group where you can easily post your question and get answers? Or another proposal? Are there people opposing to WhatsApp? Please put it in the chat so that we know it then. Because I know it's sometimes sensible to have this kind of WhatsApp groups, but it's very efficient to just post your question and get a quick answer in a peer system. More formal if possible. Do you have a proposal, Isabel? Where we could do it? It could also be an email circulation, of course.
Hello, everybody. Nice initiative, and very happy to be with you. I think this kind of meeting had to be more formal because it's our work in the ministry as focal point. So even if it seems to be a good idea to have a WhatsApp group, but it's more we cannot follow what it's saying in a WhatsApp group. So we need another platform to speak and to exchange.
Okay, so then it's better to have like an email circulation?
Yes, I think it's a better idea.
Fine. We can have the email circulation. Then we would need to make a group like the ones that are wanting to be involved in the email circulation. Because now, considering GDPR, of course, we make your emails invisible. But I think if we really want to have this kind of peer exchange, we will need to be like a group that is emailing to each other. And then we need your agreement to be visible in the email circulation as well. So we'll need to look into that as well. But anyway, also for the WhatsApp, we would need to collect all the phone numbers and so on. So this is a work we need to do. Anything else you want to raise? If not, I think we have already quite some information now to get started.
Sorry, Irene, I put my question in the chat. I was just wondering, sorry if you mentioned already and I missed it. Are these meetings intended only for the designated focal points who are responsible for the periodic reporting or for the whole entire ENFP network?
Sorry, can you repeat? I missed a part of it.
The meetings, the monthly coffee meetings, are they intended only for the designated focal points who will be responsible for the reporting, or will that be open for the whole ENFP network?
I imagine it should be for the focal points and the facilitators. I think that seems quite clear in this case. But if any of the steering committee members has different ideas, please open your mics. No? So it would be for the focal points and the facilitators that will also have had the training then in September. Okay, I see Joanna is also joining. She was on a flight this morning, so hello, Joanna, welcome. I think then we are ready to go to the next part, and it is Phil.
Hello.
So hey, Joanna, you can share the present. Maybe one more idea that was passing on the chat by Oceane is that she could try to set up a forum on the website instead of the Do you have preference for the email circulation or for a forum, or we try both and see how it works? A forum sounds good. We can see if it's possible. We're not sure yet, but at least we can try to explore the options there. Okay, we move on then to the next part of the meeting. Phil, over to you. Thank you all, colleagues.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Hello. So we wanted to have a quick chat about the General Assembly coming up in 4 weeks' time. Thank you, 17th, 18th. We have just the outline so far, but the papers expected from next week, from the 18th, and the General Assembly to cover or sort of finalise some of the discussions from the last committee meeting. Obviously, the elections for the new members as well. I'm trying to decide who to vote for in Group 1. Next slide, please. So these are some of the things I just wanted to flag today, and then if anyone has any questions or discussions, we can have an open discussion about this. So possible topics, reporting and monitoring. Obviously, we've talked a lot about periodic reporting system, simplification of it, and then follow-up to monitoring and the overall results framework. So expect that will probably be a topic for discussion. Broader policy developments, safeguarding sustainable development, climate change, urban contexts. Well, these are all things that came up in the committee meeting. Digital technology, AI, and synergies with other UNESCO conventions likely to come up. And then also just on the listing mechanisms, so the sustainability of the listing system, those of the committee, I forget the figures now, but there's basically a very big backlog to submissions to the representative list that is continuing to grow, whether that's something that is addressed at the General Assembly as a question. Further developments around Article 18, best safeguarding practices, the online platform and developments around that. I was just reading yesterday about the executive board's Oman started set up a prize for best safeguarding, which is great. Transfer mechanism between lists and obviously the ongoing discussion about visibility and safeguarding, or the representative list and safeguarding focus. So those are some of the main topics, issues. If you could skip to the next slide, please, Ocean. So just wanted to open up to thoughts, questions from the group. Anything people are particularly concerned about or interested in at the moment? Is there anything beyond today where we could facilitate, the ENFP could facilitate exchange that would be useful? And going forward for the network, are there any particular themes that we should continue to talk about or get people to present on, etc.? And then last question there, sorry, 4 questions for you to think about. Any useful support exchange around the General Assembly in Paris that we could help with? Myself and my colleague will be there, I think, from the night before to the end of the second day. Thoughts questions, open it up. Maria, no, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Phil. Well, from Sweden's point of view, we have been discussing the continuation of the work with Article 18 and the online platform that was launched recently, and yes, just something to keep monitoring is to kind of make sure that this platform continues to be developed, that it's not just forgotten and just doesn't go beyond what it is right now, because I think it's a promising start. I think it can have the potential to be developed further, but I think that is something that from the Swedish delegation that we might raise during the General Assembly, is that we really appreciate the efforts that have been made to develop these kind of alternate ways of sharing safeguarding practices, and to not forget that they are there and that they can be developed further.
Thanks, Maria. Yes, completely agree. We were discussing that the people that had switched from the urgent safeguarding back to the representative list were obviously also models of how to address safeguarding, and kind of, even if they weren't the all singing or dancing best practice ones, it's still useful to hear all different types of safeguarding. So I agree. Obviously, I think that's a later stage for the platform, but I think the more the better on it. Helena, did you want to respond on that bit before I bring in Paloma? Or
yes.
Please.
Thank you for giving me the word. I just wanted to reassure you that the platform is actually not the platform. The platform is a kind of pilot to show you how the platform will look like. So it's not the real thing. It's a kind of show off of what we are going to develop, so that you can basically comment, is this what you would like? Is this, this is to propose how it could look like and how it could go further. So there is funding, there is plan, there is everything is in there. And this was just a proposal of how it could look like. And I think we had quite good reactions on that. So there is, of course, the plan to go on.
Thank you, Helena. That's helpful. I wasn't aware, probably should have been, but I wasn't aware. So thank you for clarifying. Paloma. Hello, thank you.
Hello, thank you. Thank you, Phil, for your presentation. I think one of the main topics we should address in the General Assembly or between us is the problem, because I think it's a problem we have with the multinational files, because they are not being evaluated in the ceiling. We are a lot of countries now in the convention, so we have a lot of nominations submitted every year, and the multinational files are being excluded in the ceiling. Sorry. So I think this system isn't working. I think it's a reflection we should do about maybe have some ideas to avoiding this happening right now with the multinational files. This is not maybe establishing a quota like we have in the national files with Spain every 2 years, something like that. But the system right now is not working. And also in the web page of the convention, there was a mechanism, a page called a mechanism. Mechanism to encourage multinational files. When every country was uploading the multinational files they are working on, this page, I think, it never worked. actually, and now is not even available. So I think if the convention is encouraging the multinational work, we have to think a new system, because the system right now, I think, is not working. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Paloma. Very good points. Maria, do you want to come back, or was that
yes, I just wanted to reply to what Paloma said, which I think was very well put, that there is we have also experienced some confusion around priorities on the nomination files. But one issue that we were also debating raising during the General Assembly is related to the backlog of files and well, as it is right now, the queue to be evaluated. At the moment, this backlog is not quite transparent. It's very difficult to kind of navigate on the convention's website what files are in the backlog, how are they being prioritized, and we feel as like having this information very kind of transparent and kind of clearly presented on the website would be quite helpful when preparing nomination files and when communicating with communities, because it can give you also an idea of when you're submitting a file, where will this likely be in the list, where will we be prioritized? And you can never fully anticipate where your file will go, but it would give you an idea. So I think that would just be a request to kind of, would it be able to present this a bit more clearly? So it's a bit related to your comment, Paloma.
Thanks, Maria. Yeah, I would echo support that, definitely, Maria. I mean, there's also, I'll come to you in a second, Helena, there's also a question of, is the prioritization working? Because we have a massive backlog. Therefore, do we need to address the prioritization as well? Helena.
So I cannot reply to all the questions you asked, but I can give you bits and pieces here and there that can help you to understand the system. First, maybe to Paloma, when it comes to the encouragement of multinational nominations, of course, I mean, we are all for it. That's the convention is about. International cooperation and strengthening and encouraging it. The web page that you referred to was created to basically encourage states to put what they are working on. And it was on for, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years. And it was used maybe by 7 countries so far. So most of I mean, it wasn't used. So if it's not, I don't know, I haven't seen it for a while. So it's possible that they took it down. But if it's not there, it's because it wasn't used. You can, of course, ask for it. It might be a technical glitch, because I didn't kind of perceive that we are taking it down, but in any case, it wasn't really used by countries. So I mean, of course, if we can bring it back if it's not there. When it comes to this question of priorities, file system that doesn't work, I cannot but agree with you. There is one thing that needs to come back as a discussion probably, which is what is the objective? How are we going to continue? Do we want to inscribe everything? And this is something that where I think you're rather new. I would invite you to read the outcomes of the open-ended working group, because there was already once a discussion on, okay, how do we deal with it? It doesn't work. Countries are frustrated. Communities are frustrated. What can we do with this? And the group came up with recommendations that were implemented. So if you are asking, can we clearly say what's the priority? The reply is very clear, no. We cannot, because the priorities are calculating based on the guidance of the operational directives, which say priority 0, priority 1, whatever, and the files we receive. It doesn't say the percentage. It doesn't say the number of files we have to treat in this or that category. So we first need to receive all the files for an intake, and from those files, then it's calculated how many can, which way. And it's a very complex exercise to come up with the list, which is then confirmed and shared with all of you. I can imagine the frustration if you are kind of deciding if you should apply, not apply, you should go for USL or something else. Yeah, it's the whole exercise of the list. It's a benefit because it makes us visible as a convention, communities are aware, that it gives really a bit of visibility, but at the same time, it's not really safeguarding. It's not about safeguarding, it's about visibility, which is of course at the end part of safeguarding, but there is a lot of frustration indeed. When it comes to the backlog files, those are treated country by country. So it depends, is your country, we are always asking the country, if there are backlog files, which of the files does the country prefer to submit? Is it the file they submitted now, or should we deal with one of the files from the backlog? The backlog files, you can normally see them. I know there is a technical issue right now because I had to deal with it several times. It's normally on the webpage of the country. You have the files that are being treated now and the files which are called pending priority 0 treatment. So this is the backlog. But again, it's not necessarily 100% correct. There are some glitches. We are changing the database and there are some issues. And the last thing I would like to say to the changing system, which is not necessarily visible on your side, is that we are becoming more popular. More people are interested, more subjects, more. And within the last 3 or 4 months, we lost 4 people, I think. The secretariat is shrinking and the tasks are increasing. So if we are not doing things, it's not because we don't want to do it, but basically the capacity is just not there. So we received, if I'm not mistaken, about 120 files this year. So of course, if we can treat 60 plus, there are some files we are treating out of the ceiling. I mean, can you imagine how much frustration is out there? So this is just a little kind of parenthesis. I hope it helps you to better understand where we stand. Thank you.
Thanks, Helena. I think you have all our sympathies. Maria, did you want? Oh, sorry, you're in.
Yeah, just briefly, I think Helena and Alessandro, we all bear with you. And I think it's a general thing that the culture sector has shrinking capacity, but we're very aware how you're doing efforts in that regard, and that we need to see how funding can be there so that we can work in a good way, all of us, also the secretariat. But what I wanted to say as well is that maybe one of the concerns with the multinational files is that we're quite active again, also in Europe in this regard, but this is not like something that is globally, geographically balanced as well. So this is also a reflection, I think, for us in Europe to, on the one hand, it's good to have multinational files, but then again, it creates this kind of disbalances in a global spread. And that's also something that is in our hands, but we're just enthusiasts and active and working well together. So it's quite tricky to think about it. But other regions could be more active still in the multinational approach, of course.
We are providing training, and you may have, or you will see it in the documents that we are working on the other regions. So there is a clear improvement. You will see it in the files that are coming in after the training workshops, for example, for Africa.
Maria.
Thank you, and thank you, Helena, for your explanations. And yeah, I agree. I think we all feel very sympathetic with your situation and feel familiar with this. I just wanted to ask a related question, and that is, has it been considered? It has probably been at some point to not have files that are considered above the ceiling of nominations, because one thing that we have been discussing and I've been thinking about is this kind of risk for the evaluation body of this number of files going up very drastically when you have this kind of easy way or faster way into the list by the extended nominations, like whether these couldn't just be put below the ceiling and have a higher priority, or how. I've been on parental leave, so these things might have been discussed, and I might have not heard it, but it would just be interesting to hear some reflections on this.
Can I, Phil?
Please. Sorry, yes.
Yeah. I am not really an expert in this, so I cannot say you something that I would sign if I would put it that way. But it was discussed, of course. But the thing is that once the discussion happens in the bodies, which means in the committee, in the GA, well, there is always push and pull, and so, of course, the initial idea was to take them within the ceiling, but it always, just every time this is discussed, yes, but, so there is always a little bit more, which is understandable, but at the same time, we need to be reasonable in a way. There is only that much the body can do and that much we can treat. Thank you.
Thanks, Lena. I feel I'm on the I'll be honest, I wasn't aware of the open-ended working group. I've just looked it up. I will read that with interest. Thank you. A bit before our time. Sorry to be late. It sounds just generally that there are still a lot of problems, and not a lot of solutions, or not a lot of agreement on solutions. And so I'm wondering whether another open-ended working group is needed, or whether this is the sort of thing that the ENFP could try and come up with some sort of proposed solutions. So I feel often at the General Assembly, you've got 2 days and you've got all the voting, and there's very little time to actually really discuss and agree something. You can raise everyone will raise the problems, no doubt, but there'll be very few solutions, I think, reached next month. I'm not sure if that's something that we could have a further conversation about. Matti.
Yes, thank you. And hello all. I hope it's okay to say it's kind of like general remarks or something that to consider in the future, but also related to the GA meeting. I'm not actually following where we are in this meeting now, and I have to leave, unfortunately, in just a few minutes. So just wanted to say two things for all to consider. One is to remember the Mondial Code 25, that the draft goal for culture was drafted by the civil society there, and ICH is quite well included in that. And we should be kind of remember that this is a very, very important kind of like a cultural policy a thing for all of us to do. There is now a high-level political meeting in July, and there are a few European states giving the voluntary national reports also. So it would be very, very nice to if the culture goal would be mentioned there. I don't know, maybe they are already in that form. That it's too late now. But anyways, if when possible, just to kind of try to talk and realize the linkages between this convention, and then also the culture goal. And I'm always happy to give you information if you need on this. So this was the other thing, and the other thing was that I'm now this year the chairperson for the ICH NGO Forum, and we are having on Friday our first webinar with the series of webinars that we will hold, which they are about the organizational and strategic reform kind of the ICH NGO Forum, or we are trying to adapt to the situation which is very much needed now, because there will be more and more NGOs coming, and the structural kind of capacity of the forum is quite low. Actually, everything is voluntary based and so on. So we are trying to have this year this kind of discussion: how should we evolve, or should we evolve, and how we could be more effective. I think there is a huge capacity within the accredited NGOs, but if we continue like this, that capacity will not be used in a proper way. This is my opinion, and Jorain will be talking about the history of the forum there. It will be very important, and I hopefully we will be starting this process of kind of some kind of evaluation maybe, or strategic planning, and this is of course kind of most important for the accredited NGOs, for themselves to do the work, but of course this is also very important for the whole convention. So I think it would be good if you can join on Friday. It's at the ICH NGO Forum website. You can find the links, or then during the year, just remember the kind of the work that we are doing, and maybe if you have some inputs, then it would be always very helpful. But these two things to mention, and thank you for this, and yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Matti. Speaking personally, I often miss what's coming up from the NGO Forum, and it would be good to be sort of better linked in. I'm not sure how we can do that, whether that's the ENFP circulating those sorts of dates. Maybe you, yes, thumbs up from your end. Maybe Matti, as chair, congratulations. You can just make sure we've got all the upcoming dates and stuff that we can then circulate amongst the ENFP, so that we're all aware, because yeah, I do keep missing them. But that sounds very interesting. Thank you.
Could you post a link in the chat here so we can start there? Is that possible? Sorry for interrupting.
It's okay, Norway. Not a committee member yet. Question, and if there's no other sort of broader question, this ENFP and some of these topics going forward, does anyone have any views on kind of, would they like to see more discussion within this group on some of these issues? Would you like this group to kind of facilitate better discussions on particular topics, or sort of more support exchange? Does anyone have any views on what they kind of would like from the network? Answers is on a postcard, as we say in the UK. Have a think, let us know, please do. If you have thoughts, drop us a line afterwards. I think thanks, Lena. We all know that you are already drafting your speech and you are very organized, so congratulations. The rest of us have barely started. Have you registered, by the way, everybody? I registered last week and have been accepted, so few, but do register if you haven't already. Reminder. Joran.
Yeah, just connecting to the Mondia cult, would it be interesting for some of the colleagues to learn about the voluntary reports that some European countries have sent there, and the link with the ICH? Would this be like just an online session that we can organize, or will we already have enough with the periodic report coming up anyway? Or are some colleagues interested to learn more about those voluntary reports? Yeah, even if it's a small group, I think it would be nice. Lena? Is it on this?
Yes, yes, definitely putting a thumb up on that one, and actually a bit of a broader theme also connected with the General Assembly. I don't know if you share my feelings, but at least here in Finland, the discussion is very much around the war, resilience, preparedness, polycrisis, and then also on cutting funds. And I somehow think that sustainability has been a lot put down. So I've been touring also in the country a bit during this year in the springtime with our ministry, and I really feel there's a strong need to keep up sustainability in the agenda. So that's one of my more broader thoughts. So of course, periodic reporting is now probably number one in the year to come, but let's see if there are some possibilities to keep up this theme in the agendas as well.
And would you link that to Mondia Cult? Or do you see
it? Yes. And the cultural goal campaign as well.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe we can have a session on Mondia Cult for those who are interested to learn more from each other and also to keep the topic in the agenda. In Flanders, I see that sustainability, but also digital developments are being cut in many policy plans.
Yeah.
Do we know which countries have submitted these reports? It's not something that I've been aware of for the UK.
We usually do it. I would think that we have, but I don't have exact knowledge on it.
Matti raises his hand, I think.
Yeah, I can put the link where you can find that this year. I think that it's to Switzerland, Italy, Estonia, Norway, and Albania from Europe this year. So you can, but I will send a link.
Thanks, Matti.
If I can comment on that, I wasn't aware that Norway was going to report, but I will definitely find out more. And I got the link from Matti, so you made a good, thank you for giving me the information there. I think it's the ministries that actually is in this reporting, so we need to contact them. But good to have to look at the. And last year it was Finland that was, and maybe also Belgium. Yeah, UK maybe. No, I can't remember. But you have been, doing the exercise. Were you involved in this report in Finland? Was you involved? No. Mm.
So I was just looking at that page. It's not something I'm aware of. It's my team, my wider team that I sit in would be doing it, and I don't think there's any awareness, let alone anyone's done it. But thank you, Matti, for the link. We'll have a look. Please, again.
Yeah, just have the impression because that maybe it is handled in many countries so that it is like in the ministry, of course, but then there's like a specialized team to do that. And the problem seems to be in from country to country the same, that the actual it is like a small group of people and they are not maybe linked with the other conventions or the other kind of tool other levels, or so they're kind of working quite independently. And I think last year there were some also like first time where there were people heard from the culture sector, but I wasn't involved myself, but I think it was already much better. But still, I think there's a lot of room for improvement, and especially now that we really live the very kind of the year that the culture goal and the cultural sustainability thing will be decided for years to come. So it is now very important to kind of try to focus on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Matti. I was just looking at the agenda. The next or last agenda point was open floor and other updates and issues. So feel free to continue anything on the General Assembly, or if anyone has any other updates they wanted to share with the group on work in their country, what they've been up to. Euren.
Yeah, just a brief update about FLAME. So we, from Belgium, we have submitted the proposal to UNESCO to have the European Centre for Safeguarding Living Heritage established as a Category 2 centre within 2 years then. So we're going through the process now. But we are active already, and one of the activities that we plan to do is to have a masterclass in October. I'm afraid it's on the same timing as one of the trainings that was already shared by Helena as well, 13th and 14th of October on urban contexts and the guidance note. It will be a small workshop. We have a conference in Belgium the week before where Maria Claudia Lopez, who was the lead facilitator for the guidance note, will also be assisting. So we thought it's a good chance to organize like a masterclass for the European context on the urban context and invite people that are interested to learn more in a 2-day workshop. And we would have the chance for 10 people that are ICH experts to join, 10 people from the built heritage and the architects and so on to join, and then 10 people from the Flemish and Belgian contexts to join. So it will be a group of 30 people. It's like also a testing case. We would make the course itself for free, and people can join on their own behalf. And it will be in Brussels and Antwerp. I will soon launch the communication for that and make sure that you will receive it also in the network. But we already know that we will need to disappoint people as it's a smaller group. But let's see it as an experience and to evaluate as well. Does this work if we sometimes organize these kind of smaller trainings, and what are things that we need to take into account? But we hope this way already to create new opportunities to learn and also to have these cross-sectoral experiences also in Europe.
Thank you. Sounds exciting. Any others? Lots of people that haven't spoken, lurking. Anything people would like to share, update, ask? Any last questions? Or we can just finish early, 10 minutes early. I've got a meeting at 11. I could do with getting a cup of coffee. Okay, let's. I can't bear the silence. Let's finish there. Thank you, everybody. That was really interesting. Personal thanks from the UK as newcomers to this whole period of reporting scary thing. It's very helpful for us. Yes, I think from the emojis, I think everyone is grateful for it. Please do keep thoughts, suggestions. We as the committee are always talking about what we should be doing and what we should be presenting on and stuff. So if you have thoughts of what you want to see or don't want to see, there's way too much of XYZ, please let us know and we will try and help. And that's about it. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day, and hopefully see some of you in Paris.
Thank you.
We'll also see you at the inventory thing next Wednesday as well, if you just as a reminder. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.